It's hard to believe we're already a month into 2026. In this video, I wanted to share a little update on how my January's been so far, talk to you about my New Year's resolutions and how I'm doing things differently this year, give you a few book updates, and make my 2026 vision board. I'm happy to have you here, and let's get right into it. Welcome back to my channel, and more importantly, happy 2026. I do realize that by the time I finish editing and finally get around to posting this video, it's probably going to be February, but this is my first video of the year, so happy new year. I hope you all had a great January so far. I do want to apologize for taking kind of a long break from posting this month. It was definitely not planned. Basically, I did film some videos at the start of the month, like my New Year reset, week in my life, and that kind of thing. And then I imported those videos into Final Cut Pro, and both videos had 5 hours of footage, which I know I usually like to talk a lot in my videos, so that's kind of normal, but 5 hours is a lot, even for me. And then school started. As you can maybe hear my voice, I also got sick, and every time I would try to sit down and edit those videos, I just felt completely uninspired. So we're starting fresh in today's vlog. I have so many updates and things to catch you up on because I haven't posted in a month, so I'm really excited to be getting back into it. As I briefly mentioned, I have kind of a cold. I don't know what it is. I think my immune system is just not functioning at peak capacity because, as you can hear, my voice is nasally. I've been coughing, and it's just kind of annoying because I feel fine, but I have like these symptoms of a cold that won't go away. So I've been doing everything I can and everything in my power to just help out my immune system. I've been drinking this smoothie for pretty much the past week. I kind of tried to make like an immunity type of smoothie. I basically just used some mango, pineapple, spinach, ginger, and then a lot of turmeric and some orange juice. You honestly get used to the ginger and the turmeric after a while, but I've been drinking this. I've been having some hot lemon water with honey. I've just been doing whatever is in my power, basically, to try to help out my immune system and take care of my health, because that's super important. I do feel like I'm slightly getting better each day. It's just very slow progress, and I wish it was a bit faster, but it's progress nonetheless. This is just gonna be a good old few days of my life. I wanna bring you along with me and obviously have lots of updates to give you. It is currently Wednesday and I don't have any classes today. I actually have a very good schedule this winter semester, which I'm gonna tell you guys all about in a minute, but I think for the time being, I'm gonna sit down, write out my to-do list. I'm gonna blow dry my hair and kind of finish getting ready as well, and we can get this day started. It's a bit later now. I finished getting ready. I curled my hair and did a bit of makeup. I've been trying to get better at curling my own hair and just trying to style it a bit more, because other than blow drying, I usually don't really do anything that special to it. And it makes me feel a lot more put together, especially on days like today where I'm just like staying at home and not doing anything. I feel like it's nice to put in a bit of extra effort in getting ready, because otherwise it's very easy for me to just stay in sweatpants all day. I'm actually sitting down right now to try to plan some content for the next month or so, specifically short form content, because that is one of my resolutions for 2026. And I'm actually doing resolutions a bit differently this year. I took a lot of time to think about it and reflect on 2025 and my goals that I had had set, you might remember last year I actually did some quarterly check-ins. So every 3 months I would make a reset video, and in those videos I would sit down, talk about my resolutions, and kind of update you guys on my progress, which I really liked that. I definitely want to continue doing those quarterly reset videos this year. At the same time, I think I had a list of like 10 resolutions, and it was just hard for me to keep track of all of them. I would find myself often sitting down to reflect on my goals and just forgetting about some of them completely. So this year I thought I would try a different approach. And basically what I've decided is, so far I've only set 3 goals for myself for the beginning of the year, so for the first quarter. And from January to March, those are the 3 goals I want to prioritize and really focus on. And then come April, I'm going to sit down, reflect on those goals, see if there's anything I want to adjust, and then shift to either like 3 entirely different goals or some similar ones. I don't know, we'll see when I get there, but I feel like that approach is just a lot more realistic for me. And technically, if I keep up that method of 3 new goals every single quarter, then by the end of the year I should have, normally if my math is correct, 12 goals that I have focused on throughout the year. You might be wondering what my 3 goals are for this first quarter. Basically all I did is I took my goals from last year and kind of converted them into SMART goals, which if you're not familiar with that, SMART is basically an acronym for how to better structure your goals, I guess you could say. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then time-based. And normally if you take into account all of those pillars when writing out a new goal, it'll make you more likely to actually achieve it. Number 1 on my list, and perhaps the most important goal I want to focus on for the time being, is journaling consistently. I'm kind of giving myself this objective of journaling every day. It doesn't matter if it's half a page, a single sentence, or 10 pages, as long as I am actually picking up my journal and writing in it. I've definitely missed a day here and there and have by no means been perfectly consistent so far, but I think just having that objective as my number 1 goal for the start of the year is going to be really helpful, because journaling for me has just been honestly such a beneficial habit. I noticed that it just makes me a lot more inspired, it makes me a lot more present. I'm actually checking in with myself and, you know, writing about whatever's on my mind. It helps me with my anxiety when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So I feel like by having that habit as like an anchor and kind of a constant in my routine, then it'll actually help me with all the other habits I want to set, because it's also a tool for me to check in on my progress. I ordered 2 journals actually, so I would have one ready for when I finish this one. You by no means need to go out and purchase a new journal, obviously, to get into this habit. I think for me, it's just I was stuck on the same diary for all of last year, so I wanted to start fresh in a new journal. I just think these are stunning and definitely fit my aesthetic, and they're actually from a Canadian company. It's called Do Good Paper Company. I will link them down below if you're interested. But anyways, that is goal number 1, is to journal more consistently. My second goal is to focus on short form content and just posting more on Instagram as a whole for the next few months, which I feel like I've been talking about wanting to do for such a long time that at this point I feel like a broken record. That being said, I really have no excuses. My schedule this semester is so chill that I have a lot of days I can just spend at home doing that, and I just need to find a way to work short form content creation into my routine. So that's why I'm sitting down with my computer right now and my planner to just kind of brainstorm a little bit and try to find a content calendar maybe that would work for me. I honestly just want to have fun with it and take the pressure off of posting on Instagram. I think I have so many videos saved as inspiration that I want to recreate, so it's just a matter of actually putting together like a structure for when and how I'm going to film and edit these videos. So that is goal number 2. In a way, I'm counting on you guys to hold me accountable, because you will see whether or not I actually keep my word and, you know, post here on Shorts or post on Instagram. So we're in this together, kind of. As for my third goal, once again, I took an objective I had set last year and just kind of changed it to something that felt more attainable for me. In my videos last year, I talked a little bit about wanting to be more financially literate, and basically all I want is just to set myself up for success in the future. I don't think it has to be this big daunting thing that I've made it out to be, but I think we spent like one day in high school talking about personal finance and then we just moved right along. So it's kind of up to me to actually seek out resources and do my research in a way. But last year I just had that very vague goal of being more financially literate, which when you take a step back, what does that even mean? It's like a lifelong goal that you can always work towards. So I've adjusted it, and for the first quarter of this year, I'm gonna focus on reading 2 personal finance books. Again, I know there's more to financial literacy than just reading books, but I think for me it's a good place to start, especially since I do love reading. So far, I started reading The Psychology of Money. I'm not very far into it. I got my own copy. I've been annotating it as well, which I think is good. As you can tell by the title, this book is more focused on the psychology of how we spend, how we think about money, and like invest and whatnot, rather than necessarily like explaining the stock market to you. But it's been really interesting so far, and it's more about like our behaviors with money, which I think is a really good place for me to start. That is the first book I'm reading as part of my little objective of reading 2 finance books by end of March. You might think this is like very attainable, but that's honestly the point. I want to just set some goals that I know I can achieve, because that way it's a lot easier for me to motivate myself rather than setting an objective that's like way high up that's going to take me years to reach. That's how I'm doing resolutions this year. Again, keeping it simple, attainable is the motto. I also picked out a word for myself for the year 2026. I think this is a fun exercise just to like pick one keyword that you kind of want to embody or focus on. And my word this year is intention or intentional. Looking back on 2025, there were obviously so many highlights and things I'm just so grateful that I got to experience. But I also feel like when I zoom in on how I was spending my day to day, a lot of it was on autopilot. And it's one thing to have a routine and just follow the rhythm of that. But I feel like I was so caught up in my to-do list and in everything I had to do. And I was like, okay, I have to post weekly and I have to meet these deadlines. So I wasn't really doing things with intention or with purpose really that much anymore by the end of the year. Not only do I want to be more intentional with my routine and how I spend my day-to-day life, but also in my relationships, in my work, the videos I make, you know, the books I choose to read, the content I decide to consume. All of those are choices that I get to make, and I want to make sure each of those choices, even the smallest ones, as much as possible reflect a better version of myself and just working towards that. Speaking of intentionality, I'm going to use that as a segue to get into my tasks and to-do list for the day. As I mentioned, I want to sit down and take some time to just plan out content for the next few weeks and look at my calendar, look what I have coming up. So that's what I'm gonna do. I hope you enjoyed those updates about my resolutions and goal setting for 2026. I definitely want to check in and talk to you guys about my progress throughout, you know, my up and coming vlogs, because I think it's a good way to keep me accountable. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, it's Thursday. It is the next day. I am about to pack my bag because I'm gonna go to a coffee shop to get some work done. I have an assignment due at 5 p.m. tonight, and I worked on it a little bit yesterday night, but I just have to review, add some quotes, and do the formatting. I also don't have any classes today either, which is really nice. I haven't told you guys about my schedule this semester, but basically, in case you're new here, I am currently in my third year of university studying film production. It's normally a 3-year program, but I'm taking an extra semester this fall to go study abroad. However, for the most part, I've like pretty much taken a full course load almost every single semester. So right now I'm at a point where I have saved up all of my elective credits to go abroad this fall, and I'm just waiting until then pretty much. So this semester I actually only have 2 classes, one on Monday and one on Tuesday, and then on top of that I'm also starting an internship next week, which is going to count as one of my classes. And this is probably like the most chill my uni schedule has been. Honestly, for the most part, I feel like whenever possible I've always tried to get some days off during my week, but only going to school twice a week is like a record by far. I think obviously that's going to change next week once I start my internship, but I am just really enjoying it. That said, I am really trying to keep a structure on the days when I don't have any classes, because it's easy for me to just stay home and not do anything. So that's why I am heading to a coffee shop right now. Not only does it make things a little bit more fun, but I also feel like it just helps me preserve my sanity by forcing myself to leave the house every other day, because otherwise I feel like it's easy for all of my days off to just blend into a single 5-day weekend, and that is obviously not what I want. I mean, it's nice, but like I want to stay productive. I want to stay on top of things and take advantage of the days I have off of school to focus on content, to get ahead, and just do all the things that I say I never have time to do, pretty much. So that said, I'm hoping to go to the coffee shop. On my to-do list today, I want to finish and submit my assignment that's due, and then also get ahead on my readings for next week, get a little bit of editing done, which would be really nice. And hopefully if I get all that done, I can reward myself and just read my book this evening. I have yet to give you guys a reading update, but I feel like I'm finally out of my reading slump, and it's been a great feeling. Anyways, I will see you guys once I'm at the coffee shop. day now. As you can tell, it's, I don't have my phone with me, but I think it's almost 9:30, and I'm so excited because I get to show you guys my night routine and we get to unwind together. I feel like over the past month, or maybe more specifically over the past like 2 weeks, I've really been focusing a lot more on my night routine, and it's become something I actually look forward to, which I would have never believed you if you told me that like a year ago. Because I always struggled with like having a night routine. I don't know if anyone can relate, but I feel like especially during the semester, I'm just going straight from work to bed. There is no self-care ritual in between, but I think I like cracked the code, or at least I figured out a way that works for me in terms of having a night routine, which is just to include a bunch of little self-care rituals that I look forward to. I will say, I do think it's been easier for me to prioritize my night routine because I've had more of a chill schedule this semester. Whereas when I'm in the middle of midterms or finals, like my night routine is usually the last thing on my mind. But I'm gonna take off my makeup as I chat a little bit with you guys. Basically, what actually led me to develop a real night routine was just kind of highlighting a few really small steps that I could take each night to transition from like work mode to sleep mode, pretty much. But when I have a little bit more time, I feel like I'm actually motivated to end my workday earlier so that I get to enjoy my night routine. Oh my gosh, I look like a raccoon. I'm taking off my makeup right now because I'm actually gonna take a bath tonight, which I never do. I don't want you to think this is part of my everyday night routine. I don't know what motivated me to take a bath tonight. I think it's just because it's been so cold over the weekend that the idea of a warm bath sounds really nice. Usually the first part of my night routine that kind of signals that it's time for me to start getting ready for bed is something I do every day, and that is taking a warm shower. For tonight, as previously mentioned, we are going to be taking a bath instead, but that is already obviously something I do every single day, so I feel like it's a good cue for me to get on with the rest of my night routine. So I will pour myself a bath, get cozy, maybe do a face mask. I haven't done one in a hot minute. Could be fun. And I'll just bring you guys along with me step by step as I do the rest of my night routine tonight. Obviously that bath took me a lot longer than a shower usually would, but I was reading my book and I've since then done my nighttime skincare. I also made myself a cup of peppermint tea. Now is really the time in my night routine where I get to unwind, and depending on how tired I am or whether or not I have to get up early the next day, this is kind of where I get to decide if I want to just go straight to bed, or lately I have been really looking forward to reading before bed. I also will sometimes journal at night. I've actually been liking journaling at night more so than in the morning recently, especially on the days when I have school and I have to get up and going pretty early in the morning. I think it's nice to just take a little bit of time in the evening before I go to bed to just reflect on how my day went. You might be able to hear, but I have my diffuser going right now, and it's just on a setting where it'll run for like an hour and then it'll automatically shut off after that. So sometimes that gives me a cue of like, if I hear it actually turning off, then that probably means I should be going to bed because I've been reading or whatever for an hour. I also have my Hatch alarm right beside you. It's kind of what is making me very shiny because I have the light pointing towards me. This is a new addition to my room and to my routine. I actually got it for Christmas. It was on my wish list for a while. If you have no idea what a Hatch alarm is, it's basically this kind of like fancier alarm that's supposed to help you build better sleeping habits. It has a built-in speaker, it has a bunch of different light settings, so you can set it to red light, which is proven to have like a lot of benefits. Or what I like to do is I have it on this like reading light setting, so usually I can just turn off my ceiling light and then I'll just be able to read without needing to get up and turn the light off right before falling asleep. And then it's also a sunrise alarm, so when you set up your alarm in the morning, there will be like a light gradually getting brighter to help you naturally wake up. So far, I kind of hate to admit it because I know these alarms are quite pricey, but I have been really liking it. To be fair, it was on my wish list for a long time and I paid for half of it and then the rest counted as a gift, so I feel like it kind of makes me appreciate it even more because I've been eyeing it for so long. It's getting late, kind of, for me at least. I feel like I've been in a good habit of going to bed pretty early, so 10:40 is late for me now. But I'm gonna journal for a little bit to keep up with my streak of trying to journal every day. And then I think I'm gonna read a little bit of A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the ACOTAR series. This is the second book that I'm reading so far this year, obviously the first one being the first book in the series, and it's been really fun to dive back into fantasy. I mentioned in a video a little bit ago that, did I mention it in a video? I honestly can't remember. Anyways, whether or not I mentioned it, I've been wanting to get back into fantasy and I've had this series sitting in my things and on my shelf for such a long time, so it was time I finally picked it up. And I've heard such hype about the second book, and I can say so far I'm like almost halfway into it and it's super entertaining. It's like I literally read it like it's popcorn. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know when you eat popcorn and you just don't realize it, but next thing you know you ate an entire bowl? That's how I feel towards this book. I started the first book of the series, I think late December, so it did take me a while to get through that first book, but I think it's just because I was kind of busy and there was like a lot going on. I read it over New Year's and my boyfriend and I went to like the spa on New Year's Eve and I got to bring my book, and there was like this room with a fireplace where you could just like chill in your robe, and I brought my book and it was so nice. Genuinely, I think the highlight of my winter break. And then the next day we went skiing and it was my first time going downhill skiing all winter. It was so much fun, but it was freezing. Like the view was gorgeous. There were not a lot of people because it was like New Year's Day, but my toes were frozen for like a week and a half afterwards, which was not quite as nice. I wish we had done it in the opposite order of going skiing and then going to the spa. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked and off topic here, but I'm gonna journal, read my book, enjoy my cup of peppermint tea. This is an amazing trio. I also think I'm gonna write out my to-do list for tomorrow so I have one less thing to worry about. So I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Good night. Happy Friday. I just made myself a big cup of matcha. I'm not gonna lie, I'm usually an iced matcha kind of girl, but lately, I guess because it's winter, but also because I've been trying to fight off this cold for the past 2 weeks, I've just been loving a warm drink, so warm matcha it is. But anyways, before I end off today's video, I wanted to do something that I have been meaning to get around to doing ever since the start of the year, and that is making an updated vision board. I currently have this vision board as my wallpaper on my iPad. Whoa, why did Face ID work on you? Hello? Oh, it was my thumb. It's because I had my finger right here. I was very confused for a second. Anyways, this is my iPad wallpaper, and I think I honestly can't remember when I made this one, to be entirely transparent. But anyways, I do still really like it. I just think it's a bit outdated and I could definitely update some of the pictures on here. It's funny because looking at this picture right now, there's a hatch alarm on this vision board, and there's also the book that I'm currently reading, The Psychology of Money. Not only that, but there's also this picture of a girl hiking, and that was kind of to embody my goal and objective of working in Banff last summer, which I did end up doing if you watch my vlogs from last summer. So all in all, lots of great things on here. I'm just really excited to give it a bit of a refresh. I'm gonna scroll on Pinterest for a little while and just save whatever images I like. And again, in keeping with my keyword for the year, I'm gonna try to be as intentional as possible. I think with vision boards, it can be easy sometimes to just put like the end result, But I think over the past year, I've been trying to make my vision boards reflect a bit more like the habits and actual actions and steps I can take to achieve my goals. For example, it might seem silly, but right now on my vision board, I have a picture of a laptop that's open on an editing software. And every time I open up my iPad and I see that picture, it's always a reminder for me to keep up with editing more consistently. So anyways, I'm gonna take a little bit to scroll through my saved images, maybe look up some new ones, and I will come back to you once I have an updated vision board. It's now like a half hour or so later. I've just been having the best time ever scrolling on Pinterest, and I put together my mood boards in Canva. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know Canva, but I use it sometimes to make thumbnails, or honestly whenever I have to like make little graphics, it's my go-to. What I did is I used the grid feature and I just made 2 rows of 5 images, and then I will just drop whatever picture I like in that slot. I think I'm pretty much done with my vision board. To be honest, I might tweak it a little bit, but I will put the finished product on screen for you to see. I have a picture to remind me to journal, some reading inspo. I have a picture of a yoga mat, a camera, a clean room, so it reminds me to keep my space tidy. I also have a picture of a plane window because 2026 is going to be a year of traveling for me. I'm going to study abroad in the fall, which I am looking forward to so badly. I cannot put that into words. And already I'm having to narrow down the list of places and countries I want to visit because I'm only going to be there for like a few months. But I think traveling has just been on my bucket list for such a long time, and I didn't really travel that much last year other than obviously spending the summer in Banff. Even now I feel like I would go back, and there's still so many things that I didn't get around to doing there. But obviously Banff is still within Canada, so it's not that much of a culture shock. But anyways, that is where I'm going to wrap up today's video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I am so happy and excited to be back to filming again. I'm really going to try to aim for consistent weekly uploads. If there are any videos you want to see from me in 2026, please comment them down below. As you saw earlier in this video, I was brainstorming video ideas, and I'm kind of thinking of bringing back a vlog series in 2026. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you might remember I used to make these videos called study diaries, and those videos are kind of what helped my channel grow for a while at first. They were basically just like study vlogs, and I would call them study diaries, and I liked having that kind of series that I could come back to. And I've been thinking about bringing back a kind of like vlog series concept, although it would probably not be so focused on studying and school. Maybe something more along the lines of like growing up, adulting, that kind of direction. Although I'm not too sure, because also deciding to do a series means I have to commit to that for a while. So let me know your feedback and let me know your thoughts. That would actually be really helpful. If you've made it up until this point, thank you. As always, it's a pleasure to hang out with you, and I hope you have not only an amazing rest of your day or night, but also an amazing 2026. I'm so excited to bring you along with me and to keep documenting my silly little life. That said, I am sending you lots of love, and I will talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye!